Team Fortress 2, my favorite multiplayer game. And I really like it. I've been playing this for like 7 years non-stop now. But even after trying all the weapons and play almost all the community game modes, I don't think I've played every single TF2 official maps. Or I guess I think that I have not played enough of each of them. So I've come up with an idea. I will go back and review every single TF2 official map that has ever released, save for a few exceptions. And I've gathered all my friends in a Discord server so we can test out each of the maps. So in this first episode, we'll be looking at the map that came with TF2 on release, which are the original 6 map that has been here since the beginning. Let's get right into it. The most iconic map in TF2, no contest. 2-4 always have this weird identity crisis. It's the most iconic map in the game, but it's also the worst map to play in seriously. I mean, I occasionally fight on 2-4 server, so I'm not immune to that either. It took some convincing for my friend to play the map seriously, because some of them are part of what I would call the deathmatch players. And boy, did we learn the hard way of why people don't play it seriously. The whole map is seriously lacking in supplies, so if you're low on health or ammo, you either have to push onto the enemy base or go back to yours. Falling into the water is also very punishing, because you have to walk all the way through the sewers to go back at the ground level. It is tedious. Very tedious. The scout also don't have much room to shine because the bases are really cramped and there's little spaces to move around. Also, this metal platform is the only surface in the game that doesn't protect you from explosive damage. It is really strange. It takes way too long to get into the intel room. And by the time you walk out, the enemies you've killed on the way in probably respawn already. Not to mention the exits are really predictable. It got so bad that my friends were pretty much begging for the round to end. It's Dustbowl. There's no need for introductions. You know, a few years back I used to play on this map a lot, because I was playing on a class war server that runs on this map 24/7. I can recall this map like the back of my hand. Spawn camping runs deep in this map. This is because the distance between the defending area and blue spawn gates are very short. It also doesn't help that a single sentry can basically cover all the spawn exits. Stage 1 of Dustbowl has the blue team capturing 2 small shacks. The first one is extremely generous on supplies. Maybe this is because of how you cannot upgrade the dispenser back then. If so, this part of the map doesn't really age well. Their placement is also odd since they are just outside of blue spawn. So they probably won't use it anyway. Because you know the locker is not really far away either. The second point is so unforgiving to defend. So if you don't have a backup engineer or someone defending the point, it's over. Hell, you might not even get to defend the point because these 2 points are so close to each other. The left tunnel basically gives the blue team a free pass to the point. It gives them way too much cover. It's either a steamroll or stalemate on this one. The second part is basically engineer heaven. Good god, where do I even begin here? One sentry gun is already enough to keep the blue team inside their spawn, and also enough to defend both points. As for the blue engineer, he can basically lock down all tunnels from counterattack. So at the first point, there's this small window for a demo man to shoot his grenades into the building. I never saw anyone use it. However, this part is also the best part of Dustbowl for me though. But then again, it is only because it doesn't have as much flaw as the other parts. The third stage is where shit hits the fan. The oh so infamous 20 minutes long match, because for some reason the timer stacks in this map. So yeah, if you're too good at winning, prepare to have this very long stalemate handed to you. This whole area is basically a one giant linear path with no variety at all. The blue spawn in the alleyways are so cramped it's easy to spam. They're not really fun to fight in. So the red team spawn exit is very close to the first point. This makes the whole thing worse if the blue team is doing badly. Also, this tunnel is just a waste of time for blue. The red team can basically ambush anyone coming out of it. The last point is basically a glorified linear corridor. It takes so much to just push and then take the point. To me, Dustbowl just really doesn't work when played normally. This map has a gimmick where you can take A or B first and then capture the other point and then move on to C. So the key for the red team is to split up into 2 groups and defend each point. But then again, it's pubs we're talking about. Cooperation doesn't exist. It kinda concerns me how the spawn door is always open and a soldier or a demo man can really spam into the blue spawn. You know, point A is always open for the blue team to cap. I guess because it takes much longer to get to A than go to B. For the red team anyways. I also think it has to do with the fact that there's no good sentry spots here, which is pretty ironic since this part of the map has the only medium medkit in the whole map, and also 2 medium ammo boxes, so it should have been defendable, right? With that being said though, I find that point A is very fun to fight in, with the houses and the rocks stop sniper from being too overpowered in this part of the map. Point B, the radar is okay, I guess? Although this tunnel can be easily locked down by a single sentry or a sniper. Because red always defend here, it's a real pain to push through here sometimes. I like how the roof can be sneaky way in for a soldier, devilman, and pyro, or it can be a good spot for a wrangler engineer. Point C, the laser gun, is very open. And the capture rate is very generous for the red team because a single soldier or a devilman can easily get up there. God forbid playing engineer on the last point though. Because you can get easily spammed from every single angle, especially from devilman. Oh, Hydro. Poor Hydro. I actually was interested in this map game mode, and I was really excited when we went in to play it. And it turns out, I like it to be honest, but the concept is not really communicated well to the player. Basically, Hydro is divided into 4 areas: the radar, the dam, the warehouse, and the power plant. In each round, both teams will try to capture an area, and there are many combinations of which areas are fought. Some are good, some are utter bullshit. This one gives the sniper way too much view, this one basically has one path to the point with 0 flank routes, and this one is slightly more balanced. Your first impression of the map is basically a dice roll, really. This also means that there can be 6 different layouts the player has to learn, and the map essentially become a prime example of too confusing for new players. Just like the main game itself, really. I understand that Valve plays the arrow so that people can at least get a hint of where to go, but I think it's not enough. It also doesn't help that the areas are lacking in team colors, which makes sense because an area can be owned by either team at any given time. But it also causes a problem, because team visual is always a TF2 key to show where the players are going and where the enemies are. There's also a bug about the area screen. If you press a button when it shows up, it disappears. So you basically miss out on the crucial information of which area you're fighting in. The spawn room are pretty nicely designed though. They have lots of exits and not really cramped. Except for the power plant, because this lower door can either be completely useless because the enemy only attack from upstairs, or a real game changer because for some reason, there's a flank route which passes right in front of this door. The respawn timer is also weird, because it uses roughly the same respawn time for control point game mode, which is too slow in this case because the stake of the game mode is much higher. Because instead of capping 3 points, you only need to cap 1 to win. Once you have all the areas, you get to attack the enemy's main base. If you're the one defending though, you basically don't stand a chance. Because not only you have no time to build sentries and uber charges, the attacker respawn almost instantly. It's a shame because in both map and the mode itself, I can actually see the potential in both of them. But it will probably get lost in the abyss of TF2 forever. I wish it's seen better days. For a control point map, well, it's a really weird one, because it's the only one with a setup time. Although this allows for a very unique choice in this map, the jumping class can go across the train and surprise the enemy, which you either succeed or die trying. But then again, there's a bad part to this. This gap in the train can be easily spammed before the round begins. This can be especially annoying when the pyro has a scorch shot. The middle point has trains driving by from time to time. This makes for an interesting choice because downstairs there are plenty of space to move around, but you can and will get hit by the trains. Also, the trains make for some hilarious deaths. The main building might be way too big though. People only use the first and second floor and they rarely go to the third floor. There's also this way out into the water, but it only opens from the inside. But because people don't really know that, it leads to some unfortunate death. And you know what? This flank route is not really used really often. It basically gives you a free way into the middle point at any time, and basically stay hidden all the while you're doing it too. And the final point is so open. It might even be way too big for its own good. It's also unforgiving, like it takes about 1 second to capture this point. I would like it more if there's a second floor exit to the spawn, but I do like how you can jump onto the metal beams. But then it comes back around because you somehow cannot go here. Granary is probably the best map of all the original 6. The middle point is pretty great. I like how the containers close off the point from the outside area but not too much. The sniper sideline is also not too overwhelming, and the jumping classes can get some height advantages, but the classes that cannot also get a fighting chance. The second point takes place indoors and it allows the engineer to shine, but at the same time there are some good flanking routes to counter him. Although it can be real pain in the ass when you're defending last and the enemy engineer built upstairs, because it can be really hard to reach him. The last point is very open, but it's also quite fair. There are some covers to get you across, and while a single sentry gun can hold this area, you have a lot of ways to approach it. Although this window allows the sniper to shoot directly into the enemy spawn, which might not be a good thing because the enemy cannot see it coming at all. Oh, and by the way, the main spawn room is a bit too big for 5 CP though. Because of how long the respawn timer is in this mode, the size of the spawn makes it feel like it's padding out the timer. Also, the winning team spawn doesn't have locker for some reason. By the way, there's this flank route in the map that I don't think anyone ever used it much. In this case, it's a hole from the second point, and it dropped you right in front of the winning team third spawn. One thing I have against this map is that there are so many invisible walls on top of containers and roofs, which kinda bother me because you can clearly get up there. And because this map has a memorial for Rick May, the soldier's voice actor, I decided to do a small military gun salute with my friends to honor his memory. We also did it last year, so you can check it out too. Company presents arms. Ready. Aim. Fire. Ready. Aim. Fire. Ready. Aim. Fire. And that was it for episode 1, the original 6 maps. It was quite a trip, not gonna lie. Me and my friend really had some fun. Feel free to follow our journey on the history of TF2 maps. And in the next episode, we will be covering 2008 maps. See you next time.